Okay, let's be completely honest here. It's Monday, right? You set this massive, totally life-changing goal. You are absolutely pumped. But then, it's Thursday, and you're literally on the couch, eating a cookie, having completely abandoned the entire plan. Honestly, why does this happen to us every single time?
Well, it turns out you're not just lazy. Actually, scratch that, you definitely don't lack willpower. You're actually just trapped in a really poorly designed psychological game, and you don't even know the rules. But what if you could literally hack your own behavior?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely unlocking the ultimate cheat codes for life. We're going to use game theory, some behavioral economics, and even a little bit of ancient Greek mythology to completely rewire how you make decisions and guarantee that you actually hit your goals. So let's just dive right in.
Level 1. The Multiplayer Trap.
Look, life isn't a solo campaign. It's a multiplayer game where your outcomes depend entirely on the choices other people make. And, well, unfortunately, people don't always do what's best for the group. Just think back to the absolute worst part of high school. Yep, the dreaded group project. This right here is a classic prisoner's dilemma. If you and your partner both work hard, epic win, you get an A. But what if you work hard and your partner just completely slacks off? They get a free ride on all your hard work. Because you know they might slack off, the perfectly rational, self-interested choice is for you to slack off too. When everyone acts selfishly to protect themselves, the whole thing falls apart. Rational people end up with terrible outcomes just because they can't trust each other.
This beautifully illustrates two other classic multiplayer traps. First up, we've got the stag hunt. Just think of a neighborhood potluck. If everyone brings a massive roast turkey, boom, it's a feast. But that takes trust. If you don't really trust your neighbors, you're probably just going to bring a tiny sad sandwich to play it safe, and suddenly, everyone gets a mediocre meal. On the flip side, you have the chicken game, which is all about preemption and pride. Picture two cars just speeding at each other on a really narrow bridge. The one who swerves is the chicken, but if nobody swerves, it's a total catastrophe. Game theory essentially shows us that without trust, we're stuck either eating sad sandwiches or crashing on a bridge. No win there.
Level 2. The Solo Boss Fight.
So dealing with other people is super hard, but the ultimate boss, it's your own future self. Remember that goal you abandoned back on Thursday? Well, behavioral economists actually have a name for this. Harvard economist David Labeeson demonstrated this back in 1997, and it's called present bias. Basically, as humans, we systematically overvalue immediate rewards, like, say, eating that cookie right now, and we heavily discount future rewards, like being super healthy next year. It's not your willpower failing you. Your brain is literally hardwired to prefer the present. Willpower is just never going to be enough. You have to replace it entirely.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that we need a way to stop our present self from totally sabotaging our future self. Enter the ultimate cheat code, the commitment device. The original mind-blowing example of this actually comes from the ancient story of Odysseus. He knew his ship was sailing past the sirens, and their songs were so incredibly tempting they'd cause sailors to just crash their ships right into the rocks. Knowing his future self would be way too weak to resist, he had his crew physically tie him to the ship's mast and fill their own ears with wax. He entirely removed his future choices, so present temptation just couldn't win. It's brilliant.
Now, does this actually work in the real world? Oh, absolutely. Back in a massive 2006 study, researchers offered a group of people a seed savings account. This account literally locked their money away until they hit a specific goal or date. They could not touch it, no matter how much they wanted to. The result? Participants who used this commitment device saw their savings balances increase by a staggering 81 percentage points compared to the control group. 81%! It proves that when you lock away your options, you literally lock in your success.
Level 3. Hard versus soft commitments.
But look, not all cheat codes are built exactly the same. If you really want to hack your behavior, you need to know exactly which tools to equip for the job. Hard commitments enforce objective external consequences, meaning if you fail, you lose actual money, or you lose access to a resource. It legitimately hurts. Soft commitments, on the other hand, rely on internalized psychological costs, like feeling super embarrassed because you made a public pledge, or maybe losing a 100-day habit streak on an app. Soft commitments are really great for your everyday, ongoing habits, but if you have a high-temptation goal that you keep failing over and over, you really need to bring in the heavy artillery.
To make quitting literally impossible, you need to build what we call the commitment stack. Step 1 is the environmental layer. You've got to change your environment so doing the right thing is just the default. Use apps like Cold Turkey or Freedom to completely block distracting websites. Step 2, the social layer. Go tell a specific stripped friend exactly what you are doing. And step 3, the financial layer.
This is the big one. Use platforms like Stick-A, which was actually built by Yale economists, or BeMinder, and put your actual hard-earned money on the line. If you don't hit your goal, your money gets donated to an anti-charity. That's a cause you actively despise. Knowing your money is going to an organization you hate? Oh, that will definitely get you off the couch on Thursday.
And you know what? This isn't just for personal goals. Huge businesses use commitment devices to burn their ships and absolutely crush the competition. Think about Tesla. They didn't just casually market electric vehicles, they committed their entire factory design and supply chain exclusively to EVs. No turning back. Southwest Airlines, they completely eliminated first-class seating, totally forcing a streamlined, low-cost model. Apple abandoned external chips and moved entirely to their own custom silicon, which forced massive internal alignment. When you completely eliminate your options, you signal absolute seriousness. Because honestly, if everything is an option, nothing is actually a commitment.
Level 4. Winning the iterated game.
Okay, let's pivot back to multiplayer mode for a second. We know that one-off interactions can totally lead to selfish behavior. But how on earth do we win when we have to interact with the exact same people every single day, at work, at school, or just in our families? Well, the secret is what game theorists call the shadow of the future. When you know an interaction is going to be repeated indefinitely, the math completely changes. The long-term threat of someone retaliating against you drastically outweighs the tiny short-term gain of acting selfishly today. This is actually why soldiers in World War I trenches spontaneously stopped shooting at each other in those famous live and let live truces. They knew they were going to have to face the exact same guys tomorrow.
So, what is the absolute ultimate strategy for these repeated games? Well, in the 1980s, Robert Axelrod ran these massive computer tournaments to find out. And the undisputed winner was this shockingly simple program by Anatol Rappaport called Tit-for-Tat. It just had 4 winning rules. 1. Be nice. Always start by cooperating. Never cheat first. 2. Be provocable. If they cross you, you retaliate immediately in the next round. 3. Be forgiving. As soon as they cooperate again, you cooperate. Absolutely no grudges. And 4. Be clear. Don't play complex mind games. Just let people understand exactly how you operate.
But as we all know, real life is super messy. Sometimes people make honest mistakes, or there's some sort of miscommunication, what game theorists actually call noise. If you strictly play tit-for-tat in a really noisy environment, a totally accidental slight can trigger this massive death spiral of endless revenge. So what's the fix? It's generous tit-for-tat. Basically, every once in a while, when an opponent defects, you just kind of let it slide and cooperate anyway. Adding just a tiny fraction of forgiveness into your strategy breaks those retaliatory deadlocks and builds massive long-term trust. It's a total game changer.
Design your winning strategy.
We have seriously covered a lot of ground today in this explainer, from the multiplayer traps of the prisoner's dilemma to the absolute solo boss fight of our own present bias. By understanding game theory, you can actually anticipate human nature, and by layering up those commitment devices, you can basically bypass the need for willpower entirely. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. To get what you truly want in the future, what options are you willing to completely destroy today? Seriously, what ships will you burn? Think about it. And hey, speaking of cooperative multiplayer strategies, if you want to maximize your long-term payoffs for learning, the most rational move you can possibly make right now is to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It is a total win-win game. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.